The moment you step into a room, people are already trying to decipher you. They study your expression, gauge your voice, analyze your pauses. While they do this instinctively, driven by fear, desire, or insecurity, Machiavelli did it deliberately, with calculated precision. He believed power isn't just in what you say or do, it's in how quickly you can see through others. To manipulate, you must understand. To protect yourself, you must anticipate. To dominate, you must read them before they know they've been exposed. Machiavelli understood that appearances are never the truth. Every smile could be a performance, every handshake a threat, every compliment a probe. So he crafted methods, not guesses, 14 psychological strategies to instantly uncover anyone's character, motives, and hidden flaws. The first strategy: observe how they treat the unnoticed. Ignore how they treat you, that's easy to fake. Instead, watch how they handle those they deem insignificant, like a server, an assistant, or someone without influence. Machiavelli taught that power silently corrupts weak minds. When people feel safe to show their true selves, they reveal how they'll treat you once your value fades. Respect for the powerless is a truer measure of character than kindness to peers, because there's no motive to fake it. The second strategy: quiet them and watch their facade slip. Insecurity thrives in noise. People fill silences not because they love talking, but because they fear being seen without distraction. To read someone fast, speak less than they do. Say nothing, pause longer. Let your silence outweigh their words. Soon, they'll overshare, try to impress, expose their fears, or reveal their intentions. Silence isn't emptiness, it's pressure. And under pressure, people betray what they meant to hide. The third strategy: offer nothing and see their reaction. One of Machiavelli's sharpest moves is to give no praise, no warmth, no benefit, just your presence. Neutral and unreadable. Why? People treat you based on what they can gain. When you provide nothing, you see their true wiring. Do they grow cold? They were only warm for profit. Do they try harder? They're insecure, craving approval. Do they stay steady? They have control and might be dangerous. The less you offer, the more they expose. The fourth strategy: disrupt their polished script. Some people speak in rehearsed patterns, charm, vulnerability, even sincerity to shape how others see them. Machiavelli knew these types are hard to read unless you break their rhythm. How? Ask an unexpected question. Meet their joke with silence. Respond to flattery with skepticism. Shift the topic when they're gaining traction. When their performance falters, they stumble. And in that stumble, you glimpse their true self. The fifth strategy: test loyalty with minor denials. Don't wait for betrayal to gauge loyalty, create the test. Say no to a small request. Withhold an expected favor or withdraw attention briefly. Then watch. Do they stay respectful? Or do they criticize, distance themselves, or spread gossip? Machiavellian minds know loyalty isn't shown in victory, it's revealed when someone feels denied. The smallest rejection uncovers the largest truth. The sixth strategy: measure their attention, not their words. Words lie, but focus doesn't. While they speak, note what they prioritize. Do their eyes drift to influential people? They chase status. Do they ignore those of lower status? They value only advantage. Do they check their phone mid-conversation? You're a placeholder, not a priority. Do they mirror your expressions? They're seeking favor. Machiavelli didn't heed words, he tracked attention. Attention is investment, and where they direct it reveals what they value and what they dismiss. The seventh strategy: mention a fabricated flaw. Share something small and false about yourself, like, I tend to overanalyze, or I used to trust too easily, or I'm not great at confrontation. Then observe. If they exploit it later, weaponizing, mocking, or using it against you, they're opportunistic. If they ignore it, they're respectful or cautious. If they share a real flaw, they seek connection and feel safe. By creating a fake vulnerability, you test their reaction to weakness without risking anything real. The eighth strategy: make them wait. Nothing reveals entitlement faster than delay. Respond slowly, be vague on plans, take longer to deliver. Entitled people panic, guilt trip, or turn passive-aggressive. Patient ones adapt and stay steady. Machiavelli didn't just seek loyalty, he sought resilience. The impatient become toxic when things don't go their way. Delay exposes temperament. The ninth strategy, see who they emulate. Everyone mimics someone, consciously or not, their tone, style, or gestures. Machiavelli believed you can decode ambition by studying their idol. If they copy the powerful, they crave control. If they mimic the popular, they seek attention. If they imitate the virtuous, they want moral superiority. Their role model reveals who they secretly wish to be, and that shows what they're pursuing. The 10th strategy, spark envy and watch their face. Mention something subtle that elevates you, a recent success, an opportunity, or a compliment you received. Then study their expression. Is their smile forced? Do they redirect the conversation? Do they downplay your win? That's envy, and Machiavelli saw it as the most dangerous signal. Because envy always precedes sabotage. It doesn't shout it. Flickers. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The 11th strategy, ask what they despise. Forget what they love, that's easy to fake. Instead, ask, what kind of people do you dislike? Or, what behaviors do you hate? Their answer isn't about others, it's a mirror. People often hate what reflects their suppressed traits. Those who claim to hate arrogance are often quietly arrogant. Those who despise dishonesty are often skilled liars. Those who scorn weakness fear being seen as weak. In judgment, they confess. The 12th strategy, note what breaks their gaze. Eye contact is power, but what breaks it is truth. Bring up topics like money, status, shame, past failures, or power dynamics, and watch their eyes. They'll twitch, shift, or drop when something hits too close. Machiavelli knew the eyes aren't just the soul's window, they're the escape route for suppressed emotions. What makes their gaze flee reveals what their mind fears most. The 13th and 14th strategies are the most potent. The ones Machiavelli used to guard thrones, navigate betrayals, and manipulate minds. These don't just read someone, they shape how others see you to draw out their truth, while the weak chase answers. Machiavelli provoked them. He built tension, not trust. He didn't ask, he triggered. The 13th strategy, become their mirror. Most people wear a mask, performing, charming, pretending. But Machiavelli found that mirroring their tone, posture, or language subtly triggers unconscious self-recognition. They see themselves in you, and their next move reveals what they're hiding. Mirror their casual tone, do they get intense, trying to dominate? Mirror their confidence, do they pull back, unsure? Mirror their insecurity, do they act superior or mocking? By reflecting their energy, you create psychological friction. Most won't notice, but their instincts respond, showing if they're authentic, defensive, or manipulative. The more they shift when mirrored, the more they were performing. The 14th strategy, disarm with respect, then strike with observation. People expect judgment, so they come guarded, excuses ready, filters up. Machiavelli's brilliance was to start with unexpected respect. Compliment their insight, acknowledge their success, validate their words, even if you don't fully mean it. Why? Respect lowers their guard. Then you ask the real question, the one they're unprepared for, the one that cuts through their armor. For example, you clearly think things through. What's the biggest fear behind your choices? Or, you seem so self-assured, when did you learn to fake that confidence? Or, you're great at reading people, how do you know when someone's reading you? Respect opens the door, but the surgical question rips the mask off. People are more honest when they feel admired, and that's when the truth spills out. Now that you can read people psychologically, the next layer is strategic. Machiavelli didn't study traits for their own sake, he studied people like maps, where every weakness, habit, or blind spot could be used, influenced, or guarded against. Their flaws become your leverage. Once you see what someone hides, you gain more than insight, you gain control, not to destroy or manipulate, but to influence silently. If they fear abandonment, distance is your tool. If they crave admiration, subtle disapproval makes them chase your respect. If they need control, unpredictability disarms them. If they're dangerous, hiding a dagger behind a smile, you know where to strike or how to let them unravel themselves. This is where reading becomes strategic warfare. Profile them into archetypes, but never say it aloud. Machiavelli didn't label people in conversation, he labeled them mentally. He didn't say, he's a narcissist or she's insecure. He observed, categorized, and acted without revealing his judgment. Why labels kill power? People resist them, but silent treatment slips in undetected. Some archetypes: the masked pleaser, craving approval, controlled by praise but dangerous when denied. The silent climber, seemingly loyal but eyeing power. Gaps respect them, but don't trust closeness. The fragile genius, brilliant but unstable. Useful if emotionally managed. The loud defender, over-explaining, overreacting, hiding guilt or insecurity. You don't need to name them, you need to know how to handle them without them knowing. Observe how they handle rejection. No better test of character exists than denial. Machiavelli believed strength shows not in victory but in restriction. Say no to a favor, a compliment, an opportunity, or attention, then step back. If they stay composed, their mind is disciplined. If they lash out subtly or emotionally, ego rules them. If they drop the mask entirely, they were only playing a role. Denial reveals their true emotional baseline. Detect who they aim to impress. A core Machiavellian truth: people don't speak for expression, they speak to position themselves. Every word is a strategy, even if unconscious. Ask, who are they performing for? You. They seek your validation. A group. They're claiming dominance. Someone absent. They're revealing a hidden target. Watch their eyes, who they check for approval. Every joke, opinion, or gesture is a tactical move towards someone's attention. Knowing who they're impressing reveals who holds their loyalty. And it might not be you. Notice what they boast about, then seek the opposite. People highlight one trait to hide its shadow. Someone who claims, "I'm brutally honest," often manipulates with selective truth. "I'm low drama," often attracts chaos. "I put others first," often masks resentment or control. Machiavelli knew excessive emphasis on a virtue signals its opposite. Real strength doesn't shout, it exists. When someone loudly claims a value, investigate its shadow, it's usually truer. These aren't guesses, they're tools to sharpen your edge. People aren't confusing variables anymore, they're code, patterns, responses. But there's more. Once you read them, you decide how to play them. Do you feed their mask, test, destroy, or elevate? With power comes responsibility, and with insight comes the risk of detachment or domination. Machiavelli embraced this risk. He saw people not as obstacles or enemies, but as opportunities to advance the game. Now that you can read anyone, the next step is using that insight to win without being seen as the one pulling the strings. Your power doesn't come from knowing their secrets, it comes from knowing what to do with them without them realizing they've been exposed. This is where Machiavellian intelligence shifts from perception to influence. You're not just watching your steering, and they're following your cues unknowingly. Most try to influence through persuasion, logic, or sincerity. Machiavelli cared not for being understood, but for being obeyed subtly, silently, consistently. The first rule of invisible influence: make them believe they're acting on their own terms. First, mirror their desire, then redirect it. Once you've read what they want: status, attention, security, don't confront it, reflect it. Compliment the ambitious drive, validate the insecure's effort. Acknowledge the dominance, control. This lowers their guard, they feel seen. Then redirect, link their desire to your goal. If they want recognition, imply they'll gain more by aligning with you. If they seek influence, show how your plan gives them visibility. Don't fight their desire, hijack it. They'll follow your path, thinking it was their idea. Second, use strategic vulnerability to make them talk. People love discussing themselves, especially when they feel they're helping you. Machiavelli wielded this like a blade. Reveal a small, controlled flaw, believable but harmless, like, "I don't always trust my first impressions," or "I can get too focused on work," or "I'm not as good at managing people as you." Why? It creates an emotional imbalance. They feel superior, ego boost, helpful emotional investment, trusted false intimacy. In that state, they reveal what they hide, not because you pressed, but because they feel safe and above you. A safe mind talks freely. A superior mind talks truthfully. Third, share half a secret for false equality. People trust most when they believe trust is mutual. Machiavelli offered partial truths, or controlled confessions, raw but safe, like, "I learned not to rely on people I thought I could trust." Or, I was underestimated until I stopped being nice. This creates a false mirror. They think you're like them. So they lower their defenses and share real vulnerabilities. You give a puzzle piece. They hand you the map. Fourth, let them define themselves, then use their definition. Never label someone, let them label themselves. They might say, I value loyalty above all, or I hate time wasters, or I'm not ruled by emotions. Now you know their self-identity, what they protect, and how to frame requests or objections to align with their script. If they value loyalty, say, I trust you'll handle this, you're loyal. If they hate inefficiency, say, here's the shortcut we need, you don't tolerate waste. You're not persuading, you're reaffirming their identity while steering it. They won't resist, they think they're being true to themselves. Fifth, create a reputation they must uphold. People fear loss more than they crave gain. Give them something to protect. Machiavelli crafted reputations before they were earned. You're known for keeping your word, or people respect you for avoiding petty politics, or you're the one who keeps things balanced. Now they're on record. Acting against this identity risks looking fake or weak, so they uphold it. You've installed behavior without giving an order. Sixth, leak just enough to shape perception. You don't always need direct influence, sometimes a well-placed story does it. Share how you outsmarted a rival, hint you're not easily fooled, or mention your high standards casually. These leaks create anticipation. People adjust their behavior based on what they think they discovered, which is exactly what you wanted. When they believe they figured you out, they stop questioning, becoming predictable. Seventh, let them win early to own the outcome later. One of Machiavelli's coldest moves was to give small victories, let them think their idea prevailed. Their leadership is needed, or their insight is unique. Feed their ego with harmless wins, while steering the final result to your benefit. People protect what they think they built, defend what they believe was their idea. Stay loyal when they feel important. Let them write the first line, you control the ending. You're no longer just reading, you're building frameworks around behavior, predicting, not reacting. But the highest Machiavellian reading isn't about others, it's about what your insight reveals about you. There's a shadow in every sharp mind. When you see through everyone, you risk believing you're above them. You might control for sport, move without empathy. This is where the dangerous mind must transform, not just to read, influence, or outplay, but to know when to stop, when to vanish while still winning. At the peak of Machiavellian insight, it's no longer a game, it's instinct. You enter a room, and the data flows. Who's insecure? Who's performing? Who's quietly powerful? Who's watching you as closely as you watch them? You don't think, how do I read them? You just do.